Schulich School of Business presents Education Connect in association with CNBC-TV18 and News18.com.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Education Connect, a series that brings to you the best in higher education opportunities from across the world. Global universities have all geared up to resume the academic life with much vigor. But in the wake of the pandemic, several life lessons have been learned. The way we live, the way we do business, everything has changed. And now all the leading business schools of the world are looking at curriculums that are preparing their students to work in this much changed post-pandemic world. Schulich School of Business in Canada has always stayed ahead of its time, and it is reimagining business education like never before. I'm delighted to speak to them today about their plans. So joining me on Education Connect, Dr. Detlef Zwick, Interim Dean, Schulich School of Business, Ms. Hollis Sinker, Executive Director, Student Services and International Relations, and Dr. Kiridharan Giri Kanaragatnam, Associate Dean, Students and Professor of Accounting, Schulich School of Business. I welcome you all to EduConnect. I'm so looking forward to having this discussion. Before we start, a quick look at what sets apart Schulich School of Business and what do they have to offer to students from across the world.
We listen to the students, we want to hear from the students, we want to hear about the experiences, we want to learn from the students, and then we want to make improvements every day. Faculty, staff, and students have really actually come together.
The student services team has been on top of everything, like any updates to do with travel, and because it's constantly changing, we would get answers even before us asking them. So it made life a lot easier for us.
Obviously, one of the things that's more difficult for students online is to get to know each other and to engage with each other. So we try and build in experiences in every class where students can engage and get to know each other better. If it's through group work, sometimes it's through breakout room experiences within the class, exercises that we do.
Everyone's got their screen open. If there's something that you're unclear about, somebody can just pop in a screen share and show you kind of their line of thinking. So everybody can really follow along. You kind of have that front row view of the lesson, of what your group mates are saying, and I find that really helps engage conversation.
Having the opportunity to learn online at Schulich really equipped me with a whole new skill set that as a new grad, I didn't even know that I might have needed. Because you get to learn how to work with your teammates online. You get to learn how to manage projects online. You get to learn how to be engaging in an online format.
For me, one of the most remarkable things to see really was how our students still come together, work as teams, like during these case competitions that our students compete in. They went to the Yale case competitions, the Harvard Global Case competitions, they won the National MBA games.
We now have like 3,000 members inside the Schulich Startups community that are engaged with us in our different digital platforms.
I got this opportunity of working with Eva, and I have to admit that it has been one of the best experiences of my life, and Eva is definitely my favorite mentor.
We still know we have a lot to learn, but I think we've reached a point where we feel proud in terms of what we have accomplished over the last year. Our students, yes, they still like us crave in-person interaction, but that does not need to happen in the classroom.
So let's dive right in. Case interview deep dive. I'm here to make you understand that it doesn't have to be that scary, and it's totally doable.
Definitely with the Career Development Center offering sort of like that guidance and showing me where some of these opportunities are, I definitely felt a little bit more confident in my ability to start the building blocks of a strong career out.
What we're hoping is that we can leverage the power of remote to deliver an even better business education.
Well, that was wonderful. And we are joined today not just by our guests, but also students who are keen to explore more about a global business education. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Let me tell you this. This is your golden opportunity to have all those questions answered by people who really matter. So my request to you would be send us your questions via the chat window. Participate in our polls that are coming up. And let's make this a very interactive session. And with that, let's dive straight into the discussion. Dr. Schulich, my first question is for you. COVID-19 has disrupted life for everyone. It has shaken the foundations of business schools, teachings, and operations world over. How are business schools, and Schulich in particular, recalibrating and reimagining business education in this disruptive and increasingly digital world?
Hi, Mukta. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and with the students and the audience, and we're looking forward to also the questions at the end. You're absolutely right. I think what the pandemic has, has brought technology-enhanced methods, online learning, of course, really to the forefront of how we design, think about, deliver programs, business education more generally. This is not a new development for us. It's certainly something we were on a path on already before the pandemic started. But of course, with the pandemic and our need to, transition to fully remote within 3 days, and you saw the video that captures a little bit the experience of that, that period. This transition to what we think of as a blended business education was absolutely accelerated. And that's the future for us. It's been the future for us for a while. It's blended learning. I'm not talking about anonymous, mass-delivered online courses here. I am talking about high-quality, face-to-face delivery. This could be remotely using, for example, the Zoom platform as we are doing it. It certainly includes in-person teaching. We are very much believers in the in-person experience, classroom experience still. We don't think that high-quality business education is going to be fully online. It's going to be a blended experience. The focus for us really is not so much on technology itself. It's on how can we deliver a personalized student learning journey and enable our students for a skill and knowledge development path that aligns with their needs, and figure out how technology can be used to enable that. This could be in the classroom, certainly. This can be through experiential opportunities. How can we bring unique, new experiential learning to our students in ways we couldn't have done before? This could mean how we support our students' professional development journey and career readiness work through our career center, by networking with alumni, by allowing our students to get connected to the industry in new and innovative ways. So technology for us and remote, the power of remote really is, we think of it in a way of how can we support specific learners' circumstances, but it's really not just about technology. It's about the learning journey. And I want to also say, equally important for us when it comes about the role of business schools in the future, it's also the question for business schools and the role we must play in creating a more inclusive form of capitalism, of addressing negative environmental influences such as climate change. There's a generation of students now that are joining us in our programs that want us to help them, prepare them for careers in organizations that embrace social responsibility, embrace sustainability, address inequality in society. So it is not just about new technologies. It's about helping students embrace a mindset that readies them for a career, not just a job. Help them become lifelong learners on a path that will see them change jobs many times throughout their careers. And it's enabling them, empowering them to become career managers rather than just managing a job. So when we look at our program offerings, we have, for example, 8 specialized master programs. They are industry focused, and we have strong industry connections, which helps our students get ready for entering these industries and getting that job, that first job. But still, we are very much focused on teaching our students in these programs, not just functional specific technologies, functional skills that are relevant today, but transferable skills, leadership skills that will allow them to grow in these industries, grow into their careers as they transfer from one industry to another, from one job to another. So again, it's about career readiness rather than the job readiness. And we are finding that our investments in the technologies we've made, especially over the past 12 months and before, are helping us to empower our students to really develop this personal learning journey that gets them ready for those careers.
How wonderful is that? And we will be talking about all those programs right here. Dr. Giri, how are business schools leveraging the remote study option to deliver a first-rate classroom experience, and how have Schulich students adapted to the transition to remote and hybrid learning?
Thank you, Mugdha, for the question. I think I will answer your second part of the question first. So our students have embraced the remote learning mostly because of the realization that that's going to be the future of work. I mean, you saw in that clip Emma talking about how the online transition helped her in the workplace. So not just the classroom instructions, but the entire forms of learning had migrated smoothly to the remote setting. For example, all our consulting projects were done entirely remotely, like liaising with the clients, doing primary research with excellent outputs. So overall, the student perception of teaching and learning has been quite positive. In fact, the teaching ratings over the last year has gone up. But although the students miss the face-to-face interactions with their professors and fellow students, my own experience in the classroom is that they're engaging more through chats, through breakout rooms, through polls. So you see a higher engagement than in the pre-COVID times. And what's more interesting is that we can now bring in outside experts, whether industry experts or our alumni, into our classrooms because the transaction cost is much lower now. Somebody can just pop in for 15 minutes and give their insights into some case or some concepts we are learning, and that was not possible in the face-to-face world. And what we have also seen is that outside the classroom, our networking events, student club activities have seen increased participation. For example, our startup nights were previously constrained by the room capacities, but now we have hundreds, sometimes 1,000 students joining our startup nights. So going to your first part of the question, which Dean Zwick actually covered quite a bit, but what is the remote world is helping us to do is this flipped classroom, which is the fundamental concepts are taught and tested asynchronously, and the face-to-face time now is dedicated more to like a higher order skills, like decision-making skills and uncertainty and information gaps, or like your critical thinking skills, or your ability to frame and communicate complex concepts. So those things have like taken the main part of face-to-face or like the synchronous interactions, whereas the basic concepts are done asynchronously. So it has actually been quite a bit of learning experience for both students and professors, but it's gone quite smoothly.
How wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. That something has gone smoothly in this pandemic world, whether it's classroom or education, because everybody has been so wary of, wary of the online starting, of the entire digital education and online schooling and online colleging. But I'm so glad to hear that things are going smooth there. Dr. Zwick, how are schools like Schulich rethinking their relationships with, say, the external partners and stakeholders, both globally and locally, in this post-pandemic world?
Yeah, good question. So we've always had at Schulich, of course, very strong relationships with corporate partners, external stakeholders more generally, including government, society. And those relationships, if anything, we've noticed now that we are engaging a lot more in a virtual environment, have become stronger. So on the teaching side, we are now able to, for example, support our master program students much better by bringing in alumni from around the world. If you're a Master of Marketing student, for example, we can now put you in front of successful alumni on day one, no matter whether they are working in Singapore, in Toronto, in San Francisco, New York. We can now connect you to these alumni, help you network from day one, understand how to enter the industry and what's really required. So we've seen a lot of sort of positive effects from that. We were able to do a webinar series with our with amazing set of Indian leaders, corporate leaders in the fall, attended by hundreds of students and alumni that we didn't do before, and now we are able to bring our partners in that way. And when it comes to research, our corporate partners are very much embedded and connected to us through, for example, our centers of excellence. Center of Excellence in Business Analytics and Artificial Intelligence, for example, or our Center of Excellence in Sustainable Supply Chain, just to mention two of our many. Here, our corporate partners and industry partners are looking at us and working with us directly to develop cutting-edge research. Now, through the pandemic, of course, we've seen dramatic transformations in their industries, and they're looking for insights, they're looking for answers, they're looking for us to help them create cutting-edge knowledge that helps them adapt to the new reality and the new challenges they are facing in their industries. And so here, through our research centers and our faculty, we are supporting those industry partners, and they're supporting us as we develop relevant, impactful research that we then can bring into the classroom as well, and teach the next generation of leaders that way. So, and finally, our corporate partners, of course, all have moved to a virtual environment. Therefore, recruiting is happening right now virtually, and working with our corporate partners in the recruitment process and understanding what it is they need, and they helping us with how we bring students to them for interviewing, for job placement, has become a really powerful relationship, and in fact strengthened our outreach from the Career Center perspective. So I think on all those pillars, certainly we've seen the benefits of moving into a remote environment. Again, we will see, hopefully soon, some return in a blended format. Not everything, we don't envision everything to stay remote and always be just remote. Even though we're talking remote, we're talking live remote experiences. As Giri pointed out, our students like them, they're effective, they're very strong. Nonetheless, we also understand the power of face-to-face, using our buildings, bringing students and faculty together in these in-person experiences. Nonetheless, I think combined what we're seeing, especially on the corporate outreach, corporate partnership side, we're seeing a lot more breadth and depth in our relationships. We're very happy about that.
Before I move on, let me tell all our viewers here, all the students who have logged in, you can send in your questions, use your chat windows. We'll be more than happy to take your questions. Dr. Giri, if I may ask you, the school offers the Schulich MBA in India. It is one of the first MBA programs to be delivered in India through a collaboration involving an Indian business school and an international business school. Could you tell us a little about the program, what makes it so special, and what kind of partnerships and other tie-ups Schulich has with Indian institutes?
Ties to India goes back more than 20 years with academic partnerships with leading Indian schools, and we created a satellite center in 2005, and then in 2010 we started this India campus. So we started initially with academic exchange partnership with top Indian schools, first with Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and IIM Bangalore, and more recently with ISB Hyderabad. So in 2005, we established our satellite center in Mumbai to recruit students and offer executive education programs. For example, we had some executive programs for Tata Group, Citigroup, and American Express. In January 2010, Schulich became one of the first international business schools to deliver a degree in India, initially with the partnership with SP Jain Institute. And then in 2014, we moved to our custom-built building in Hyderabad. And this is a twining agreement with GMR Business School, the education arm of GMR, one of the largest leading infrastructure companies in India. So our Indian presence is also enhanced by the advisory board of our India MBA programs, which is who's who in the Indian business community. That includes Chairman GM Rao and Ratan Tata, Uday Kotak, and Dr. Preetha Reddy. So coming back to your main question, what are the benefits, key benefits of our India MBA program? One of the main advantages, you are learning about two important economies simultaneously, emerging economy in India and an advanced economy in Canada, and with a global curriculum delivered in India with access to corporate India. So we have guest speakers from leading Indian firms coming and interacting with our India MBA cohort. Another advantage is it's a small cohort. So there is about 55 students joining every year, and the instructors are flown in from Canada to teach these courses in a modular fashion. So the instructors are kind of captive audience in India, and the students get a lot more time than they would normally get in Toronto to meet the faculty and get to know them closely. Another advantage, of course, is the opportunity to build a global network, which both in home country in India and North America and global. One key reason a lot of our students join our India cohort is it provides the best ROI because the first year living expenses are lower, and there is a special bursary for year one MBA students. And in year two, they all go to Toronto to complete the MBA. So then at the end, you are going to graduate with the Schulich MBA degree and work in Canada. So those are the value propositions for our India MBA. But what we are doing is we are planning to increase our footprint in India. So one thing we have already done this year is to enter into a partnership with GMR Group on a new innovation hub called GMR InnoX. The hub's mission is to foster and drive innovation with startups, academia, research institutions, and other platforms. And we are also currently exploring bringing some of our other graduate programs in Toronto to India. So we want to expand our footprint, and India is an integral part of our school strategy.
Now, I know a lot of you students and your parents must be wondering about the precautionary protocols that have been put at the universities. So our first poll is around that. What precautionary measures must universities undertake when they reopen? And your options are masking and enhanced cleaning protocols, arrival in small batches and with 50% capacity, social distancing in classrooms and common areas, and option D, all of the above. So that's the first poll for you. Send in your answers and we will look at them shortly as we collate them. All right, let's move on. And this question is for you, Dr. Giri. Apart from the regular curriculum, what kind of applied projects does Schulich offer to its students that help them in developing skills that make them industry ready?
Thank you, Mukta, for that question. And so experiential learning is one of the hallmark features of graduate management education at Schulich. So including the Schulich's unique strategy field study capstone course in the MBA program. This is a real world consulting project where 5 to 6 students in groups of 5 to 6 students engage with a real company and identify the major strategy issue faced by the company, and in collaboration with a faculty panel of 3, solve that strategic issue. And they do that over their entire second year. That's about over a period of about 8 months. And additional examples I can give you in a curriculum context is the Global Leadership Program, which mirrors our strategy field study, but in an international setting, where students have done projects or strategic consulting projects in Israel and South America. And we introduced a new entrepreneurship course called Venture Mentorship Match, where students earn credit for gaining relevant work experience under direct on-site mentorship and guidance of a hand-picked innovation sector founder or venture investment leader. So these are hands-on experiences students take as part of the curriculum. But what we are finding now is students want these experiences in a shorter framework and a shorter time span, but more intense. So 2 interesting examples I can offer you during this pandemic time. One is this initiative called Digital Main Street, where Schulich partnered with City of Toronto and some of the world leading e-commerce companies like Google, Shopify, Facebook to launch online stores virtually for the small businesses in the Toronto area. So as part of the project, about 100 students received work placements, and thousands of small firms and small businesses transform into online businesses. Something else which is closer to home is about what we launched this year called Together 2021, where Schulich partnered with Startup India to create 7-day virtual entrepreneurship bootcamp and venture competition early this year. It was backed by global organization leading entrepreneurs and top venture capitalists. 250 student entrepreneurs from India and Canada teamed up and for a challenge to come up with social purpose startups. So during the boot camp, 50 teams had the opportunity to consult with various mentors from Canada and India and redefine their ideas and presented in a competition where top 3 teams were selected with a significant amount of cash prizes and mentorship offers. So what we are seeing is these experiential learning platforms are integral part of Schulich, but we are transferring into these small high intense like hackathons or boot camp type of experiences where students engage locally and globally?
Well, the poll results are in. Let's quickly take those in here. What precautionary measures must universities undertake when they reopen? Well, no surprises there. 84% of you actually want all of these in place, which is masking and enhanced cleaning protocols, arriving in small batches with 50% capacity, social distancing in classrooms and common areas. And if we were to look at the micro numbers, 7% of you 7% of you, 3% of you are saying arrive in small batches with 50% capacity. I think students are now wanting, only 3% wanted that. So I'm guessing students are now really wanting to be with all their classmates and really interacting with people. But yeah, social distancing in classrooms, 6%. But yeah, a huge 84% wants all of these in place to feel safer and getting on with their student life in a campus. All right. I am now going to put a question to you, Ms. Inka. I was browsing through your website and I discovered that Schulich has one of the largest arrays of MBA specializations any business school has in the world. 17 in total. Could you throw some light on it for our viewers?
Yes, absolutely. It's certainly something that we are quite proud of. Schulich does boast several first of their kind in the world specializations as well as degrees. So, as has been mentioned earlier by both Dean Zwick and by Giri, we have a variety of one-year master's programs that are quite industry specific. And on the specialization side of things, we offer specializations like mining, real estate and infrastructure, digital transformation. So some really unique specializations within that total number of 17. And within the 17 that we do offer, there's what I would say are two buckets. So there are those specializations that are functional in nature, and they would be the things students might expect, like accounting or marketing, finance. And then we have another bucket of specializations that are cross-functional or more industry specific. So things like health industry management, digital transformation, arts, media, and entertainment management. So there really is just a plethora of choice for our student body. And Schulich students have the flexibility within their MBA schedules to specialize in up to 2 areas if they so choose. So while there is no mandate to specialize and students do have the flexibility to take a more general approach to their MBA, if they want, they can choose to specialize in up to 2 areas. So this really does speak to the flexibility of our MBA program. Several of our specializations are indeed ranked among the world's best. So QS Top MBA has ranked Schulich among the leading business schools in the world for MBA students that wish to pursue careers in finance, in marketing, or in operations management. And our arts, media, and entertainment specialization is actually ranked among the top 5 in the world. So, graduates of that specialization regularly go on to take very high profile positions in arts and culture organizations like, the Canadian Opera Company or, the Toronto International Film Festival, just sort of to name a few areas of potential career outcomes. What's really interesting as well about the array of specializations that we offer at Schulich is that it really attracts a diverse range of students to the program to begin with. So while we are a very culturally diverse school, we're also very diverse in terms of the backgrounds that individuals bring to the program. So in a classroom setting, you might have folks who have a background in engineering. You may have musicians, you might have teachers, you'll have accountants. So they all bring a different perspective to problems, to cases, to concepts that are being discussed in the classroom, which ultimately really enhances and levels up everybody's learning experience, as opposed to if we had a more homogenous sort of classroom setting. Within our areas of specialization as well, business sustainability is one area, but sustainability in general is really a key area of focus at Schulich and has been for years. So the notion of the triple bottom line, which would be people, planet, and profit, It's very, very core to what we teach, regardless of the area in which a student is specializing. And as an institution, we've been regularly ranked among the world's leading schools in the area of sustainability. I would also say that our diversity of MBA specializations and our specialized master's programs has really allowed us to become a global leader in a variety of industries of the future, if you will. So this would include areas like artificial intelligence, business analytics, health industry management, particularly poignant given the global climate right now. And many of these industries of the future are really booming right here in the city of Toronto. So as a city, we've been ranked the third best tech hub in the world by Expert Market, ahead of both San Francisco and Boston. And what may be particularly interesting to today's audience, Toronto was recently described by Business Insider India as an emerging tech superpower. So all that to say, yes, 17 areas of MBA specialization, but so much that you can do with them. And, we are constantly looking at the specializations that we offer to make sure that they are relevant to a world that is very rapidly changing.
Fantastic. And I think I'm going to throw in a question soon about these industry-centric MBAs to Dr. Zwick. But before that, time for the second poll. Let's take this one. What must B schools offer to leverage remote study options amidst the pandemic? Number one, aiding recruitment process and placement. Number two, future-proofing skills and competencies. Number three, additional online sessions such as webinars, podcasts, etc. And of course, the all of the above, all the options to be thought about actually. And I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you filling in the polls. And also, if you have any questions, please do let us know. All right. While we wait for the poll results, Dr. Giri, if I may ask you, how do you ensure a continued relationship with your students once they graduate? I know you briefly touched upon it, but can you share with us some of your alumni success stories?
Sure, Mukta. So we are very proud of our alumni. The school's global alumni network is one of the biggest benefits students gain when they get a Schulich degree. So we have got more than 33,000 alumni and 93 alumni chapters in 62 countries. So that's one of the largest networks in the world. So when you are joining Schulich, you're not only just getting a degree, you are joining this huge family. And if you look at the recent Economist MBA ranking, Schulich ranked third in the world in the category of potential to network, which takes into account the size of the school's alumni network. So in this particular ranking, of course, our MBA program was ranked first in Canada and 21st in the world. But the alumni network and the power it brings is one of the biggest advantages of Schulich. So we are very proud of our alumni. They are highly engaged, accomplished, loyal, and passionate, and proud about their schools. So they volunteer as mentors. So on an annual basis, we get about 2,000 alumni mentoring our current students on a one-on-one mentoring over a period of several months. So giving them tips about expanding their networks in a new country or new industry, giving them leads to new networking opportunities. So what we give to our alumni? We have a very well-established executive education center, which offers custom programs for companies, but also open enrollment programs, which addresses emerging topics and technologies. So our alumni do participate in this what we call a SEEK, which is the Schulich Executive Education Center offerings, and we also have these annual conferences and professional development courses specifically for our alumni. And for your question on how are our alumni doing, Our alumni have gone on to take leadership roles in some of the largest and best-known companies in the world. And they have also become very successful entrepreneurs as well. One good example is the global local company startup, which turned into a large global corporation called OpenText. So let me give you specific examples of highly successful graduates who are part of our alumni network. One of them is Bharat Masrani, our BBA graduate of 1978 and MBA of 1979. He's the group president and CEO of TD Bank Financial Group, one of Canada's largest banks and one of the top 10 retail banks in the US. Jasper Chung is the MBA class of 1990, is the president of Amazon Japan. Dennis Pickett is MBA class of 90, president Global Services Group, American Express. Ritu Gupta, MBA class of 2008, is the president and CEO of Easton's Group of Companies. So our alumni live and work in over 90 countries around the world. So bottom line, of course, is Schulich degree opens doors all over the world. And one of the proudest thing I talk about our alumni is like we have these undergraduate program, 8 specialized master's programs, MBA executive MBA programs, and then SEEK, which is the Executive Education Center. So most of our undergraduate students come back to do specialized masters or accelerated MBA. Or our specialized masters come to do accelerated MBA or MBA or EMBA and SEEK courses. So we see once they step into our world, our building, they don't seem to leave. So they like it so much. And a very good example is somebody on this call, who is Holly Sinker. She's a graduate of our class of MBA class of 2015.
Well, that's lovely. And of course, then Ms. Sinker would know everything about Schulich, the things that the faculty needs to know, and all the things that, of course, students need to know about what's happening in campus and where are the good haunts. And I'm just amazed as to there are so many things that we spoke about when we spoke about the alumni associations and so many countries that people are part of, and of course so many courses. And when we were talking about industries of the future, Ms. Inka did touch upon it, and I want to come to Dr. Zwick for it, but should we take the poll results first? Okay, so let me just have a look at the poll results. All right, so the poll results are here, and just a second. All right, future-proofing skills and competencies. 12% of you have voted for that. Additional online sessions such as webinar, podcast, not so many, 4%. All of the above, of course, 76%. Aiding recruitment process and placement, 8%. But yeah, future-proofing skills and competencies at 12%. And of course, a combination of all of the above is what everybody feels. But when we talk about future-proofing skills and competencies, Dr. Zwick, essentially students are wanting to sort of understand what are the industries of the future, what are the skills that may be required, not just in the new post-pandemic world, but also in the emerging global economy. Could you tell us about some of these industries of the future, where Schulich is the global leader?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think I'm not divulging any secrets that, of course, the growth of digitization, AI, data science will continue to spur new industries. Equally importantly, though, these technologies, of course, are also transforming, existing established industries, from supply chain to mining, real estate, marketing. We see it everywhere. So it's not just about what are the industries of the future, the emerging industries that we are looking at and are thinking about and talking to our partners about. We're talking to partners in established industries to understand how these new technologies are transforming the industries today and make sure our students are ready to be part and lead this transformation. Another big influence, of course, is sustainability. And here too, we'll see the emergence of new industries around sustainability. And we will see how the trend of sustainability is transforming, again, existing established industries. And that's why we put a lot of focus on being world leaders in digital transformation in terms of research and teaching, and our partnerships in the financial service industry, in consulting, in mining, in real estate, all these healthcare, all these established and emerging industries where we have strong partnerships, exploring how new technologies are transforming them and bringing those insights into the classroom to our students. But it's also looking at developing world-class expertise around sustainability and responsible management, which we have, and bringing those two fundamental pillars into the classroom for future proofing, as you say, because we don't just focus on technologies of today to teach our students technologies that exist today to get them into their jobs. We know that these technologies and these skills that are focused on today, they don't have a long half-life. New technologies will emerge, new skills will be required. So for us, it's really about developing students into leaders and lifelong learners. And Giri talked about how we do this. We see the school also as part of a partner for a student's lifelong learning journey, coming back to our executive center to upskill and reskill, to get a degree from undergrad to master's to an MBA, and to continuously foster the learning and acquisition of transferable skills, leadership skills, and competencies that you can bring from one industry into another. One thing we know about our students is they'll be entering an industry, but they also switch industries over the duration of their careers. So future-proofing for us means not so much job readiness, but career management. And how do we empower and enable our students to thrive and build meaningful lifelong careers, for themselves. And so again, we are certainly keeping an eye on industries. We are in very close contact, touch with industry partners. We are adapting our specializations, and we are creating new master programs to respond to emerging new industries, such as, for example, the emergence of healthcare industry now in new technology enhanced ways. So we are developing a Master of Health Industry Leadership. And that's one response where we become global leaders to directly respond to this emerging, changing industry. But it's really, our focus is also on empowering students to think beyond a particular industry and think of themselves as lifelong learners that can work across industries. As industries go and come and go, how do I fit in? How can I adapt myself to fit and bring value to an organization in a new industry? And have an entrepreneurial mindset around their own careers. It's organizations want an entrepreneurial mindset when they look for talent, and so that's certainly something we foster in our programs. But we also try to teach our students to have an entrepreneurial mindset about their own careers, and think broadly about how they shape and fashion their own careers over the next decades.
Wonderful. We have a few questions now that are coming in, and even though Dr. Vic, you've answered a lot of those questions, there are some that I will put in here. All right. One of the questions is, what are the obstacles Indian MBA students may face while trying to get internships in Canada? And Sanhita Guin has asked this question. if one of you could take the question.
Yeah, I think that would be a question for Hollis, who has worked with our students a lot to solve some of the problems there. Hollis.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you first and foremost for the question. So there's a few things here. When we're talking about Indian MBA students gaining internships in Canada, for those students who pursue our MBA in India program, whereby they do their first year at our Hyderabad campus and their second year at our Kiel campus in Toronto, we do offer a graduate diploma in culture, communication, and leadership in Canadian business. And essentially what that is it's a 2-term professional development course with elective classes that are really designed to expand students' communication, negotiation, and presentation skills in service of, aiding their job placement in the Canadian market. And students are then able to apply what they've learned throughout that course in a 12-week work placement at a Canadian organization, which allows them really to get that meaningful work experience that they're looking for before they transition to a full-time role post-degree. So that's an interesting way that we're able to help our MBA in India students. For international students who choose to pursue the MBA fully at our Kiel campus in Toronto, from day one, you will have regular access to our Career Development Center and to all of the networking events and activities that take place, both for the pursuit of summer work, so internship positions, and full-time placements upon graduation. So our Career Development Center, which, by the way, our MBA in India cohort absolutely has access to as well. It's staffed by a variety of industry advisors who you can go to for specific advice and coaching, depending on the industry in which you're looking to pursue an internship or a full-time role. And there are also a variety of certified career coaches available through the Career Development Center who can really help you perfect your presentation skills, your resume and cover letter writing skills. There are folks there that are available to do mock interviews with you. So, in saying all of that, really what I'm trying to get across is there's a host of tools and resources available to our student body to help ease the path to finding both internship positions and full-time work upon graduation from the program.
Great. Ria Gandhi has another one to ask. Would having a part of education here in India and a part of education in Canada give us the equivalent recognition and value globally?
Hollis and Giri, do you want to take, one of you want to take this?
I'll take it, yeah. And yes, I think what you get is there's intense cohort experience in India where you are mixing with your classmates, which you won't be able to do that in Toronto because you will be scattered around different classes for different courses. And one other important thing that you also get while you are in India is access to everything what's happening in Toronto. So you get access to networking events, especially now in the remote world, whether you are in the India program or Toronto program, makes no big difference other than the advantages of getting exposed to these different economies, because you have the same access to the career center, student government, networking events, and startup nights. So you are not missing out on anything. And even previously you didn't, because they were organized around the Toronto students, but now absolutely no difference.
Okay, let me take the next question, which is Nisarg Shah. He's asking, share some light on the scholarships, grants, or financial aids that Schulich may have to offer students coming from India.
Great. I'm happy to take this one. So excellent question. And certainly, I know top of mind for many students coming in to pursue an MBA or another master's program at Schulich. So annually, we have about $4 to $5 million in scholarships, awards, and bursaries that we disperse to our student body. So there definitely is funding available for students. And as I say, it comes in the form of either scholarships and awards or bursary funding. So in terms of scholarships and awards, there are certainly a number that are specifically dedicated to the international student body that students do not have to apply for. So all of our entrance awards are automatically adjudicated as part of your admission to the program. So generally speaking, when a student's admitted either right away with their offer of admission or within a very short time frame, they are made aware of any type of scholarship or award funding that will become available to them. We are also and have been able to be very proactive and responsive to the pandemic situation. So in light of the pandemic, we've been able to offer a unique COVID emergency bursary that students have been able to apply for if they are facing, undue financial hardships in light of the pandemic. So we've been able to set aside a separate pool of funds to disperse to our student body to, again, help ease some of the challenges that students are facing as a result of the pandemic. So there is the scholarship, award, and bursary piece, and then certainly there's also loan programs and specific loan programs for international students. So we have a variety of private loan programs. For example, we're partnered with Prodigy Finance, we're partnered with Empower. So there's certainly a number of loan programs that students are able to investigate and pursue. And absolutely, we have, as part of Student Services and International Relations, we have a specific financial aid team that is there to help walk students through what their options may be. And I would also be, remiss not to mention a few new partnerships that we have in terms of scholarships and awards that are really focused on the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we are a Forte school, which means we offer Forte fellowships to women entering our program that qualify based on the particular requirements of those fellowships. We also have a new fellowship called Reaching Out MBA, which is a fellowship specifically for members of the LGBTQ population and allies, and as well the Access to Success Fellowship, which is specifically intended for students who identify as having a disability. So there are varieties of ways that students are able to access funding to help pursue their studies at Schulich.
Wonderful. This piece actually interests a lot of people because they would want to know what are the financial aids available, even if it is scholarship, bursaries, or loans, so that they are able to afford this education. And I think the next question is sort of related with that, and perhaps Dr. Zwick, you can take this for us. Shreya is asking, Shreya Shetty, for someone with about 10 years experience in the field of marketing, what are the work opportunities available post completing a postgrad program from Schulich?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for that question, Shreya. So 10 years experience, industry experience, experience in marketing, of course, provides an excellent foundation. You would join Schulich for an MBA at this point because our Master of Marketing, for example, is much more designed for pre-experienced individuals. So you would complete an MBA and then really your doors would open rather wide with this kind of background and degree. And, you would have to work now very closely with our expert in our Career Development Center to really rather narrow the options and find the opportunities in marketing that you're looking for, because in terms of the industries you could enter, there's really no limit here, from financial services, to retailing, to fashion, to technology. Maybe join one of the startups and small, fast-growing tech companies that are looking very hard for experienced marketing experts. So there isn't really a limit to where you could go. It would really depend on where you see yourself, what your interests are, and that's why we have a career development center that is organized by industry counselors and can sit down with you and really scope out where you would want to go with your degree and with your experience. But that certainly would be a highly sought after candidate for many organizations, for many companies.
Well, we are running out of time, but I cannot let you all go without having the answer to this question, which is to Ms. Sinka. Everyone around here wants to ask you that question, which is Indian students have missed campus life in 2020 and 2021 and are likely to not see campus life for another 6-7 months. We don't know what it's going to look like in India, but what is the campus life looking like at Schulich?
I get it. I have missed it as well. You know, campus life at Schulich, whether online, in person, or hybrid, it still remains dynamic, collaborative, and very, very engaging. So at Schulich, you know, we have over 30 student-run clubs and organizations, all of which still function with great success remotely last year, and in some instances with even better success than they had in person, as was mentioned earlier in today's session. And these clubs are going to be making a gradual transition to in-person events and gathering over the course of this academic year, as it is safe to do so. So we're all very much looking forward to that. Our Graduate Business Council, the GBC at Schulich, which is sort of the governing student body, has done a really great job of keeping our students engaged socially. So, you know, to build a sense of connection with the school last year, the GBC sent out Schulich branded swag to all grad students so that they could really feel that they had a piece of the school at home with them. They also hosted an absolutely amazing end of year gala, which was done entirely online, with a production value that I would say is, you know, very much akin to a high profile red carpet event. So in that way, we've been able to stay engaged with the student body, yes, academically, but also very much socially. So, you know, this year the GBC is going to have the privilege of, you know, slowly welcoming back our students in person. But there's just so many great learnings as well from a year of being remote that I'm sure will continue, not the least of which has really been the ability to more seamlessly integrate, you know, our MBA in India cohort into virtual events happening at the Kiel campus that they may not otherwise have been able to take part in. So I guess, you know, I don't want to take up too much time, but campus life is looking like it's slowly going to return to normal, whatever normal looks like these days. But I would not say that our students suffered greatly as a result of having to pursue a variety of those types of social activities in a virtual format, because, you know, students are creative and they found ways to still really get the most out of their Schulich experience, and we're very proud of them for that.
Well, that's a great note to end our program at. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for patiently answering all the questions and for your time for this webinar. Thank you so much.
Schulich School of Business presents Education Connect in association with CNBC-TV18 and News18.com.